I hit the button.
There we go.
There we go. We are live. Had a little trouble there right at the beginning, but we are live. So I'm here with Liam Gray, the creator of Xenotype, and I'm here with the Skits comic team, Michael and Christina, and we are going to be talking about Xenotype tonight, an amazing book from Liam. Liam, is there? Would you like to just kick it off? Would you like me to get straight into the campaign, or would you like to say a few words about Xenotype?
Get into the campaign. Like my best pitch is looking at my product.
Okay. So here we are, Xenotype, and so I'm just going to play the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Did I share sound? I can never remember. Let me.
These are the struggles we face.
These are the struggles. Let me try it again.
Yeah, just make sure you got it, man, because that thing, oh, man, it is tricky. I don't know why it doesn't do it automatically.
You would think that with our, it's 2020, we should have the technology to just be able to do that. All right, let's try it this time. Let me know if the sound is working.
Yep, she's up.
Nice, man. That is one heck of a trailer.
I felt like I went to a rock concert. That was awesome.
A great trailer.
Thank you very much.
Did you do that, Liam?
No. I wrote it. I sort of wrote the outline and the scenes and the pacing and set the theme, but Odie illustrated it and animated it. I taught him how to make motion comics. Like, we had a day where we sat down and we're like, okay, learn how to make motion comics. So we figured that out. Then we're like, okay, now we make a trailer. So then we made the trailer using the same sort of techniques they used to make motion comic books. And we've got this wonderful song, and we licensed that and got it all good for what we're doing. And there we have it.
Well, that is an amazing trailer. It's very nice. Michael, you say you're an artist. What do you think about the art on this?
Well, I'm actually a big manga fan too. So, you know, not only just an artist, but a manga fan. I think it looks really, really good. You know, it's almost like it is manga, but it's starting to try and be over in the American venue just a little bit. Like, it has a little bit of a, you know, like, I'm coming to America. So, I mean, I think it's really great, man. I'm super excited about this. I actually bought the manga version and not the color version, just because I felt like it was truer to what it was trying to be, you know? So, I mean, that's what we got. So we're super excited to get it, you know?
Very excited. I'm loving the ways that the eyes like really pop open, because that is part of when you look at any manga style or any anime, like their eyes are the first thing that you see, you know, especially with that. And so that is what blew my mind away.
Yeah, there's one image here where the boy right here. This looks like manga, which I'm not a manga guy, so I'm not expert on it, of course. But this image right here looks like, you know, that's the classic manga face, eyes wide open, like you're talking about. And just Odie, 19 years old, Michael, amazing artist already. 19 years old. That just blows my mind that he creates something like this.
He's exactly. Got a long way
18
to go,
when 18 when I found him, absolute prodigy. And you know what sucks, guys, is these early pages that were first developed are the first ones that you sort of see in the book, these sample pages, and they're his worst art in the book.
Don't say that.
No, it is. It is. He's gotten so much better over the course of the last 60 pages that you would not believe. Like, he's at a whole other level. Like, just yesterday, he has these weird things where he sort of, like a prodigy, like a savant, like he levels up, like he actually like he levels up. And just yesterday as well, he had his 3rd level up since this project. So if you look at this art, which you think, oh, looks really great, and then you look at our latest pages, it's night and day for how good it is.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Very nice.
He's got so much better just over the course of just this one book.
And that must be exciting for an artist, as a writer, to be like, wow, this is the vision that I have for what I want, and this is for him to be like, oh, thanks so much, and he's doing better and better and better, like you said, like a 1-up, like he's upgrading. And if this is just a small taste, he's got a long way to go.
His art is so much better in the later volumes that we're actually going to be a little bit delayed on release, like probably about a week off our schedule, because he needs to go back and redo parts of these pages, these early pages, so that they're as good as the rest of the book. I've never seen anything like it. Technically, we don't need to, but we want it to be absolutely top quality all the way through. So we're going to take a few days to touch up a lot of these earlier pages and make them as good as the rest of the book.
Awesome.
I thought this would have been a good enough level to succeed, but to see where he goes now, it's like Berserk. You know, it looks like Berserk. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Well, go ahead, Michael.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I know y'all just released that alternate cover with Raging Golden Eagle. Now, is that something that he did recently?
That's very recently. That was about, I would say, probably about, I think about like a week or two ago he did that. He spent like a day doing that. That's actually collaboration with Toxic Man Baby, the artist of
Where would I find that at? Is it down low?
Just keep scrolling down. Yep, just keep scrolling down. You'll find it. And sorry, just got to get past the color comparison.
That's okay. That's awesome, though, just to see
there
it.
We go. There we go.
Yeah.
We see that the Blade Devil was done by the artist. You can see there's a little bit difference there. He adjusted his style to sort of match the Xenotype thing a little bit more, which is really interesting. I thought he'd just draw the character as it was, but he wanted it to sort of fit with the world, so he drew her a little different. And there's Felix, becoming Esper, and this is Odie prior to his last big increase in skill. So this is him this is what sort of the middle and near the end of the book looks like.
Nice.
Yeah, because to me, when I saw this, I was like, well, he's upped his game a little bit. I was like, this is like it's a little bit above what I've been seeing from the pages. So I was like, that's good stuff, man.
He's hungry and he's working hard. He wants to be the best that there ever was. You know what I mean? He wants to be great, and he's just pushing every single day to get there. I do my best to feed him decent art references and other artist portfolios, and just like this prodigy, like I've never seen. He just looks at what they do and he just absorbs all of their talent. He's like, I can do that.
That's
and then he
good.
just, like, I've never seen anything. I've worked with a lot of artists throughout my life, and I've never seen anyone with the capacity to do what Odie does. Like, a half-hour video of watching Ethan draw wasps' nests allowed Odie to go from where he was to what you see there with that cover. And
spotting the blacks.
And this, guys, is it's not even his best. This is, keep in mind that he's doing this stuff on 1 or 2 day deadlines. I haven't let him take a week to do this picture. I haven't let him do that yet. If I was to go like, hey, take a week to do this page, the things that you guys would see would be like something out of an art gallery, but we have deadlines and schedules to achieve,
Yep,
well, I've watched the two of you on stream, and you act like a proud dad that's, promoting his son and lifting him up and just encouraging, putting him out there. All right, boy, here's the world. Take it over. And so,
I'm his coach. That's right. Yeah. I'm his coach. I want him to do well. I want him to succeed.
Good job.
Like he is this amazing talent, and he's already one of the best mangaka in the world. He just deserves that recognition, and we just want the We just want the fans to realize what they've got an opportunity to be a part of right now, before we get bigger, you know, because this is just the first step on the ladder. And I want people to be able to say, like, imagine if you could say, hey, I helped make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles happen. You know, like, hey, I was behind G.I. Joe or Transformers, like these legacy franchises. That's what I built.
We just saw that on like the Toys That Made Us, and the movies that made us, and those were the two big ones. And you're just like, oh my gosh, a lot of people were like, I can't believe I started or I helped or I did this, and it has blown up. I mean, it's global, and that's what you're looking for. I mean, that's successful, you know.
Go ahead.
Hey, Overly, I just want to say, hey, thank you. I saw your first initial reaction to our video. I haven't had a chance to reach out to you because my day just started, but you're our target demographic, brother. You're the guy that I want buying the book. I mean that. Like, if you've got the time, back us and tell your friends you're the guy who we're making this for, right? This isn't just a monument to my narcissism. This is a product for people like you, with your preferences, with your tastes, with your predilections to enjoy. It is carefully crafted to be something really special. So if you know where I can reach other people that share your interests, that share your hobbies, that are on the same sort of level of engagement, you called out on that video, man. You called out all of our art references. You knew them immediately, and you're the first person to ever do that. That's a true fan. You knew what we were doing, and you're the guy we want. We want you. We're making this book for you. Okay, so
yeah, people like Overly are the ones that support the artists and the creators who are trying to put something out there that's different from the mainstream having their thumb on you. When you have support, we're independent artists. We need independent supporters to come along and help us to produce the books that we make and the what it is that we want to create, without that thumb on top of you saying, well, that's a little over the line. You need to pull that back a little bit. We can do what we want to do, and we can do it like we want to do, and that makes for better books.
Thanks, Overly.
Thanks, brother. I mean that too. I'm not blowing you up. I mean it. Like, I showed Odie that video, and we were very proud. We were very proud because we've had lots of people going, "Oh, it's great. It's like a comic. It's like this," and they loved it, and that's great. That's what we wanted to do, and we wanted to be able to help other people that were more used to Western books transition into manga, and people that were more used to manga transition into Western books, and find the best of both. But you're the first guy that really, really started saying things that were correct without needing to repeat what I had said on other streams. I was very proud. We knew that what we were doing was right, and we were really confident. And because of that, as well, we're human. Because of that, because of how strongly he reacted and how impressed he was, and because he knew our influences and what we were doing, Odie was pumped up, and his production increased greatly. Like, the page he did today was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So that's the stuff we want to see. That's the fan base we want to reach.
183 pages, is that accurate? Is that up to date?
No, it's not. That's behind. We're further ahead. I think we're about 187 now. But I came straight onto the stream, so I've got an update I need to post out, but I haven't done it yet.
Well, that's okay. I was just looking at that. So the book is
pretty much done.
Yeah, it's pretty much done. You don't have a few more pages, and you'll complete. That'll be a good feeling. Yeah, for sure. We've just got to be focusing on selling and pushing and making sure that people are aware of what we're producing. That's the main thing. Like, right now it's all grassroots, so it's very dependent upon people not just sitting here and enjoying the stream, but saying to their friends, like, hey, did you know this existed? Doesn't this look good? That's what we really need, because we don't have $1 million marketing machine. We don't have $1 billion to do that. So we have to sell entirely on word of mouth and quality.
This is why retweets are important. Sharing is important. And we always send the message, even for our team, that if people can't back it, whatever financial situation they may be in, especially in these days and times, retweet it to people that may be able still to do so, or get the word out. You know what I mean? It's
more
share
importantly, I would say, like, yes, retweet it, share, yes, that's all great, thank you. More importantly, walk over to your friend that you used to like hang out at the library with at high school and used to read manga and go, hey bud, have you seen this? And show them the trailer. Like, hey, did you know this guy's accessible? You'll have a manga you can talk to and theory craft with. Like, you'll have access to the creative process. Like, did you know that this was happening? Show them. Because people see links, they don't even click on them a lot of times. A lot of times they'll see retweets like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and they'll skim over it. But if you go to your friends and go like, hey, did you guys see this? There might be people that are like, oh, wow. And then if they go and they show their friends, that's how it's like selling a record, back in the day. That's how it's got to be done.
So you hang out in libraries in your free time? Is that something? I don't think I ever hung out in a library when I was in school, man.
Well, I'm a writer and a nerd. So.
I did when I was in school. I was a librarian for.
I went down to I went to school near a beach. We just left the campus and went to the beach. That's where we hung out.
Well, with Google, libraries are just about obsolete.
It's true, but I mean, hey, you know what I mean? Just like tell your friends. If you know someone that really likes manga, someone that like loves Berserk, they love Attack on Titan. If you know someone who knows what I mean when I say, oh, Monster is a good series, like tell those people what I'm doing and show them. And you don't have to sell for me, brother. No one has to sell my book. Just show them what I'm doing and tell them that you like it if you do. And hopefully enough people will go, yeah, we're going to take a chance on helping these guys achieve their dreams. They're fighting hard for the little guy. They're producing top quality, world-class content. Show that there's a market for this, because right now your voices are being unheard and the quality is dropping and dropping and dropping,
Well, with the situation with Diamond, we might get flooded with live streams. Jax was saying live streams are important, and I'm looking for these comic pros to flood the live streams. So, now's the time to know who you're dealing with, and know who the people are that you want to support, because some of those comic pros, they have said some bad things about the regular fans. So now's the time to get behind the creators that you support, the creators that you like, the creators that you want to support, because I feel like that before long we're going to be flooded, and we're not going to. I don't know. I kind of know the people in Comicsgate. I know who they are. I know what they're about, and I feel a connection with those people. But I feel like that maybe at some point there will be people coming in that may not be genuine like before. Yeah. So just try.
We're gonna have situations where certain people begin acting like other people that crawl on their belly, like they're going to come in and they're going to be like, oh yeah, we're your buddies. Look at how good this art is. And look at what we can do. And you're going to go, oh, that's really amazing. That's really cool. And they're going to end up breaking trust. It's going to be a rough time.
It took a long time to build. It takes a long time to build trust with your audience and with your fans. And then one person can come in and ruin that by breaking that trust that all of these creators have worked hard to create. So, we need to the moral of the story is we need to back the books that we like, and if you're financially able, back them. If not, then you like Liam says, before time was time, word of mouth was the best marketing. It's still the best marketing.
Still is the best marketing.
It is.
And if you guys can't invest in the entire 200-page volume, the Xenotype cover, it's $25. It's the same price as a standard Comicsgate book. It's going to have higher collector value because it's not going to be reprinted. It's not going to be redone. You know what I mean? it's small, so the shipping is less. And keep in mind, everyone, please, that when you're looking at this campaign, I've had people not realize this. When you're looking at the campaign, please realize that when you go to the shipping, the actual price of the US shipping is in gray at the bottom of the screen. So if you see shipping and it's like $40, that's like Australian, guys. So that's actually that's like $5 to you. Not really, but it's not $40. Okay?
Well, it's like $20, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15,
Exactly.
20.
Or like
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad at all. If you're getting a 200-page book,
It's coming from
Exactly.
Australia, man. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It
it's
is,
awesome.
and it's as low as I can feasibly get it. I've jumped through hoops. I've sort of navigated things, and until my company gets bigger and I'm shipping larger numbers, I can't charge less than what I am for the shipping. In fact,
I think people understand that, though. I mean, if they've been around the block and they know that they're getting something up to this standard, like you were saying, I think people understand that. So it shouldn't come to a surprise or a shock. Like, oh my God, even if you order something, just even a pencil from Australia, you gotta pay shipping. I mean, it's just how it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
and exactly, and you know what I mean. Like it's as cheap as I can do, and I can't. I'm starting from the ground up. You know what I mean? Like I can't just magically get it in your hands for free. I wish I could, but just keep in mind that it's not the US dollar that you're seeing when you go to the shipping, and I can't put the campaign in Australian dollars automatically. That's why some of the prices are a bit wacky, because it's based off the Australian dollar and it's converting into America. And that's just for tax reasons and stuff like that. So we have to be on the level and do things legitimately and honestly. I feel that I have a responsibility to do that, not only for myself, but for you, the customer too, because...
And that shows. I mean, if someone is on the level and you're legit, people know, like I said, people should automatically know this.
Well, here's another thing too. I mean, we're up here on the screen. You can see our faces. You got our names. You know, we're here talking to you. You know, there's a lot of people in the industry that don't show their face, don't use their real names. I mean, I understand why completely. But, you know, we're putting ourselves out here, and there's a reason for it, because we have trust in ourselves, and we also believe in ourselves, and we know that we're going to do the best we can for the consumer.
And we want people to have access. You know, it's like I saw in another stream, somebody said, you know, if you want us, if our current book is completed and you want us to do something else, you know, mention it. It might spark some creative ignition, you know, to do something like that. So yeah, you have access to the creators right here on all of these streams that we do. So
yes, you have access to my Afro puffs, and I love it so much.
Did you
I got access.
Oh my.
So, what do you need to? I saw on one of the streams, Liam, that you said that for a certain amount, I can't remember what the amount was. If you reach that goal, it would make you the biggest comic book publisher in Australia.
Yeah, if we get about 1,200, and I think it's. Oh, sorry. If we get about, I think it's 124,000 in a year, which I can do from a couple of campaigns. But if we get about that much, I'll be the biggest publisher of comic books within Australia.
Nice.
That will open opportunities, many opportunities for not only other Australians, but other comic skaters, because it will, right now there's a lot of social justice in the arts, as you guys know. And they're claiming a lot of the grants from the government and stuff, you know, to essentially draw CalArts bullshit. But if I was able to say, look, I'm the largest publisher of comic books within Australia, there is no one equal to me. I would be able to step in and take some of those grants, which are rather significant, and I could use them to pay artists and produce content and train people locally as well, and actually really give back to the Comicsgate community. So by investing in me, you're not only taking money out of taking food out of the mouths of social justice warriors and loosening their sort of their grip on the Australian sort of children's entertainment market. but you're also allowing me to take people in and shepherd them up and pass along what I was taught in the United States so that people in my country can actually produce comic books again. Because, well, for the first time, we've never really had that. Most Australian artists and creators need to move to the United States to work. So I'm trying to build something like, yeah, well, that's what I had to do for sure. There's when I was out of school, I was like, I can draw comics. What can I do with my life? I want to draw comic books, and I wasn't bad. You know, I don't mean to brag, but I wasn't like I'm better than a lot of the people that are doing Marvel currently, even now out of practice. You know,
hey, brag, do it.
And but I wasn't good enough with my perspective and my work, and I was all self-trained. So like, so basically, I was like, what can I do? And there was nowhere in Australia that would take submissions, right? Like Jet Stolt and stuff like that. These guys won't even look at your work. They just. Right. And they basically exist to hoard the arc rents and control the market and do little convention scenes where like it's all their niche sort of far left libby sort of, you know, clique of like, you know, single moms and beta men. And that's sort of what the comic book industry looks like in Australia. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And all our best talent is literally moved over to like New York, to the US to produce the big two. There's just nothing here, or they're working through Dark Horse, you know what I mean?
So what are some of the books that we would know from Australia? Is there anything? Because I don't really know of any.
There's nothing, because all of our best artists have to go over to like America. They end up working on X-Men and stuff because there's nothing here for them. They can't essentially sustain. Like I had to jump through hoops to find printers that were experienced in comic book production, and there was a couple that claimed to be that did not actually know what they were doing beforehand.
That's just really unreal, because I mean, not to take this in the wrong way, being in the entertainment industry for over like 20 something odd years, Australians are the hot commodity to come into production work as well as to come into the entertainment industry. So with that being said, you would think or assume, and you know what happens when you use the first three of those, you assume that people that are coming in that avenue are also coming in through other channels and coming in through other avenues. So it's really an eye-opening to hear you say that. You know what I mean?
We have pretty good, it's strange, we have pretty good animatronics and stuff like that. Like we have pretty good acting opportunities for people.
Yep. Yes, you do, Thor.
yeah. But the actual comic book industry itself, it's pretty much everyone's doing concept art to just try and get big in America. And in fact, I spoke extensively with one of the largest publishers in Australia previously, right? Who had been producing comic books since 1974, I believe it was. He'd been regularly published, and I was like, "Hey, I want to fix comic books," and he's like, "Oh, you sound like me when I was young," but
I get the lost calls.
It's just so hard to keep going, you know, and we can't compete with the big companies, and they take our artists. And he's like I'm talking to him on the phone for like 2 hours. I'm like, at the end of it, I was like, well, man, fucking strap in, because I'm doing it. I'm on the fucking way.
Doing it.
Exactly. And that's where I just buckled down. I was like, I'm just going to do the work. Other people have their lives that they have to live. I can just do comics full time. I can just devote myself to this completely and create new avenues and options for people. Like, and I'm sorry for rambling, but this is something I care about. Like, people in Australia, they call their comic book projects passion projects, and I hate it. I fucking hate it. It's my passion project. No, it should be your career. If you're good enough to do professional work, you should be making money off this. But no one's making money off it. They have little conventions where everyone gets together and stuff, but it's the cool kids sitting on all of the money going, yeah, it's the cool kids
at the lunch table that you can't get to.
That have enough money to blow on coke, but while other people don't have enough money to pay rent.
And sorry to interrupt you. I see is there a new cool kid?
Yeah, this is Ninja K-Vibe. This is my wife. So.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
I'm recognizing the cool kids.
Yeah,
that's it.
This is Karshina, Michael, and Liam. So, she is a cool kid. I love her.
Yeah, no, thanks. Sorry for the rant, guys. Thanks for reining me in because I get a bit. My mind.
No, it's a perspective that we don't hear, especially because again, we think, oh, everyone is doing comics, and if you're in this country, oh, you should be, published because you're really good. So,
well, I think the reason why we think comics so much here is because the comic industry was created right here in the United States, and so we have publishers all over the country that do this sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So maybe because we've been around it, we grew up around it, we just don't really think of it that much. We're just like, oh yeah, everyone has comics, but
you never think about the guys in Australia that can't break into the business because there's no business there to break into. Exactly. Here because nobody can get started.
Well, I guess probably the only other country that's really, really big is Japan, I guess. Japan, Korea, Europe.
Yeah.
Italy is really good. A lot of Italian artists. When I do my reviews on Come Get Some, I'm reading nothing but Italian names. You know what I mean?
Yes, because Marvel's plucking them for cheap prices.
That is true.
That's exactly what they're doing. Which there's nothing wrong with being Italian, but they should be paid a fair wage.
That is true. Hey, Liam, can you go over some of the tiers? I know we backed it. We backed
on the manga
tier. Yeah.
The easiest way to do it is if you scroll down a bit more, just a little bit more. I have a picture, and that explains it nice and easy, and it saves people scrolling through a bunch of stuff. There we are. You can see that. Okay. Silver version gets you the 200-page manga. It reads exactly like a manga. So if you're a manga purist, you can read it exactly that way. It's black and white. It's the same volume, so it fits with the rest of your manga on the shelf. That's what silver is. Gold is the graphic novel. Reads like a Batman comic. It's full color, reads left to right. No dramas there. If you want to sort of upgrade and sort of strut your stuff a bit, you can grab the Gold Plus or the Silver Plus, which is the same thing. Plus, you're going to get a poster plus a sticker. And if our campaign really starts to take off, which, God willing, I'll be able to add more bonus stuff in there as well. I want to give more stickers, more things like that. Okay. And last but not least, then there's the Platinum Pack, which is everything. You get it all, right? And then there's the Xeno Pack, right? And that just gives you the Lost Boys 24-page, the opening 4 chapters, the opening chapter of the book, just 24 pages, and the exclusive Indiegogo Xeno Devil cover. So those are our tiers right now. Those are our options.
Those are awesome. Those are awesome. And the reason why I was asking is because since we're still in the pre-launch page, which we're going to be busting out the asylum soon, we're looking and we're just trying to grab and gravitate to people that have been successful and some who have failed but who've been successful to find out how are you doing your tier levels? Like what are you adding, including to your tier levels? And that's really a good thing. Like I like the plus that you have.
I would be careful with using my model because my model is front loaded.
Okay.
But I had a lot of trust in the community, and a lot of the community had a lot of trust in me. So I could take that risk and offer 2 books straight up. But what that has meant is I can't offer a lot of stretch goals until we really start to explode.
Got it.
So it has, I think that's a big part of the reason that I've slowed down. In addition, everyone says, oh, your second week in that. I think that me having such a high cost, man, I couldn't get as high of a multiplication on if we just scroll up to the, because we're talking algorithm now, right? If you don't mind. See, I'm at 125%. That's because I put down my actual minimum cost. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the lower that number is, the higher that'll go, which means you'll be on the front of Indiegogo's page longer.
Yep.
I was knocked off the first page of Indiegogo after about day 3. So I was like, so I'm not showcased anymore. I'm not featured. And I don't know how to get featured again. I even messaged Indiegogo and I'm like, hey, why isn't my book featured? What can I do to get it up? It's all that number, guys. It's just, that's got to get high. And if you're not in people's eyes, it's harder to sell.
So the number, what you're talking about now is the 125% needs to be high.
You're trying to go. Yeah. You need that to be as high as possible. That said, these are all calculated risks that we need to consider as creators as well. Because if you say, hey, I'm gonna just put $500 there, like the bigger guys do, like Ethan and like Zach and John and those guys. You're like, oh, $500 to fund, but you don't know you're gonna get funded. You're gonna get screwed as a smaller creator, so you can't really reliably do that. And I'm not trying to be up my own ass, but you're probably gonna find it hard to find anyone that knows more people within Comicsgate than me. I sort of know everyone. I'm buddies with everyone. I was able to push myself up to these numbers based off my product, which is some of the best in the world, right? I'm sorry, it is. And the fact that I built up this community spirit and this trust. So this is sort of the high end of things. And I don't want new guys coming in and going like, oh, yeah, I'll put really low and do really well. And then finding themselves with like, oh, I've got to pay $12,000 shipping and I don't have it now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So know your costs and be realistic would be my honest suggestion.
Of course.
Yeah,
of
well,
course.
see, one of the good things for us is we don't have any overhead costs for ours because we're doing it all ourselves. You know.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah. So you know, we'll definitely be putting it low, but we're still not quite sure where at low. You know, because you know we'd love to just put it at 500, but I mean, what happens if it doesn't? You know,
exactly.
And I got to make a whole book for $500. You know,
exactly, and you'll feel that. You'll feel that because, well, what I would do is I would source your shipping beforehand. I would source your printing. I decide where you're going to print. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Maxim.
Yeah, we have to mix them. Yeah, we have their
we got their stuff.
Mixum, I should say, not Maxim. Mixum.
Yeah, it's Mixum. We know what you meant.
I've been on the cover of Maxim, but that's okay.
With your Afro puffs.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that when we got into this, we were like, okay, we got to be able to cover this ourselves just in case.
Yep.
So we went into it doing that where it's like we've already saved up the money to do everything ourselves and to pay for it ourselves and to take care of the time and energy doing it all ourselves. So that's something that we don't have to worry about too much. But it's like, man, we want to be out there on the front as much as possible. And you made this.
That's why I tried to get your ass on that stream that night, man, because I've seen you guys around for a while.
Morning. That was morning. That was like 6:30, 7 in the morning for me.
Exactly.
but see that's just it. You've said it before. That time you're like, I see you in the chats all the time. Well, the reason why I'm in the chats, especially on the smaller shows, is I'm trying to talk to these people. I'm like, okay, what did you do? What did you do? What are your tiers? What are you doing? I ask all these questions. What did you do wrong? What did you do right? And it's like, you got it. And I'd like to ask those questions of you. What have you done right and what have you done wrong?
Well, let's see. What I've done right, I would say there's some things that people might think I've done wrong. But if they understood the business side of things and the calculated risks and my sort of how things were done, they would realize maybe I haven't done so wrong. But the things I've done right are I built up trust with the community for nearly 2 years. I built my property based upon the unmet needs of my audience. So I looked at what people wanted and couldn't get anymore and didn't have access to. And I developed my entire property based upon those principles of what people were like, oh, I wish things were like this, but they're not. So that when they do read it, they're not just getting good art. They'll actually be like, oh, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I was waiting for. This is what was gone. I think that was very important. And it might not be obvious on the surface, but I think that that's very important. I made sure that I had to front load my campaign. Again, I'm not sure that's right for everyone, but I had people going, we want a colored version, and other people going, we want a manga version. And part of Odie's contract was I would do a manga version no matter what, because he wanted one to be able to showcase. So I was like, okay, we'll do a pure manga version, and then I'll just have to bite loss out of my own pocket to do the color version and get that produced so that my customers have something they can buy. And if you just scroll up, if you just real quick, if you don't mind,
I don't mind,
and have a look at the campaign, you'll see a very interesting thing has happened, right? You'll see just there, if you just scroll down to the silver type pack, right? To silver, you'll see the numbers. I've got 26 claimed there. Now, if you just scroll down to gold, right? You'll see I've got 28 claimed there. And it's comparative for the plus packs as well. So it seems to be a very even spread of what people want, if they want the color or they want the black and white. For new creators, though, for guys that maybe don't have the same sort of, I guess, sort of cloud, I guess, as me, that aren't Liam, I would suggest doing a black and white book like early Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Eastman and Laird's work, because it will save you probably about $3,000 or $4,000 on your production cost. So have your colors as a stretch goal would be my suggestion.
Let's talk about story, so we can.
Unless you're doing it yourselves, like if you guys are doing it yourselves, okay. But like, if you've got to hire colors, that's something maybe you don't need in your first book. You know, that's something. And I'm not just saying that for you; I'm saying that for everyone, right?
Good job, Jerry. Good job, Jerry.
Yeah.
What is the okay? I've kind of studied this page because I really like Odie's work. Kathy, Odie is 19 years old, has drawn 100 and what'd you say, 87 pages, Liam, so far of this book, and it's just beautiful work. But so I see that. Okay, so I know that Felix has the power to rewrite his DNA.
No, that's Tanner. That's actually a guy called Tanner there.
Okay. So explain to us what's going on here.
Okay, so if you just scroll up to the top page, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll just run you through it. So,
right here.
Okay, we open on the city, right? The storm-swept city of dreams that is Fenway City, right? So then we scroll down and we find out what's going on in the dark, gritty streets. This is Tanner, right? And Tanner has seen a monster, and he's like, "What the hell are you?" This thing's following him. This thing knows his name. So it's not just like a random monster that's playing around person. It knows who he is. So it's like Tanner. He's like, no, I don't want to deal with this. He runs. He trips over a Kapow cola can. That's a little nod to Red Rooster. And he trips over that. He looks back and he sees a big lightning strike. The monster's there. He turns around. He realizes he's at a dead end. And so what's essentially happening here in this scene that we'll find out a little bit later is there's a young girl called Robin, right? And Robin is Tanner's girlfriend. And our friend here, the Balvor, the horrible big monster, was assigned to kill her for reasons that will become clear later in the story.
Oh.
But instead of killing her, he became a little bit obsessed with her and began stalking her. He didn't finish carrying out his mission like he was meant to. And while rattled and shaken, she told Tanner, her boyfriend, that there was a stalker that was standing outside her window watching her and shit, right? Like, and so Tanner, he's a young athlete. He's going to make something of his life. Like, he basically decides, all right, I'm going to go confront this guy and find out what's happening. He like goes out and he sees this guy's a monster. He like sees what he actually is. And so the guy's like, well, you saw me, Tanner. And if you just scroll down here, he's like, he's calling for help. No one's coming. And he's like, Tanner, you know, and we find out this is a Balvor. He's been deployed. You see his little data card down there.
I really like the data card thing.
Thank you. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but if you just scroll down to the next thing, he's like, you saw me, Tanner. And he's like, I didn't see anything. And then he kills him. So all of this begins. We're going to go classic Christmas Carol. It was like, in the beginning, Tanner was dead. And the death of Tanner sets in motion the rest of the Xenotype series. So Tanner might have been Robin's boyfriend, like high school boyfriend, but he was Felix's friend, which is the guy we see down here, right, on the next page. And he's our lead protagonist. So he's waking up, he's going through his routine. He's a young comic book artist. He's full of dreams, full of hope, full of ambition. He loves life. And he's about to go through that loss of innocence where he realizes the world that he lives in is not necessarily the real world, and there's a lot more going on than he realizes. So he's like happy. He's like, hey, everyone's got to start somewhere. All in all, life is good. But he's about to learn that life might not be so good. And that's what's going on in that opening scene there.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice. Sounds like a great story. Hello, Jared. So, you're at. Let me get back up to the top. Oh, the card. It looks like you can make a trading card out of that.
Yeah. Oh, the data cards. Yeah, no. Yeah. I wanted to show that the Alnaga, these monsters, right? They're basically a highly organized sort of structure, kind of like a military. Their hive is organized as if it was like a military. So it's not like they're just random monsters like werewolves or vampires running around the street feeding on people. They have goals, assignments, tasks. Each one is genetically crafted and built to serve a single purpose and a certain role. Like they're meant to do. So there's certain types, and that's all they sort of do. So this guy, he's just meant to kill people and control the human population and weed out certain bloodlines or people from developing certain abilities and things. That's his whole reason he exists. And others in their ranks have different things too.
Well, so is he human? Because here he's turned into.
He's not human, no.
Okay.
There's I can't spoil more, but
yeah,
don't do it.
Don't do it, Liam. Don't do it.
But no,
I think you sent out a tweet earlier, and I responded to it where you were like, "Oh, this is like the number," and I was like, "How many people are gonna die?" And you're like, "I don't know."
Exactly. Well, I wanted to have it that there was no one was safe. I want people to feel a genuine sense of suspense. In the same way, not everyone is superhuman in the book. That's something that I really want to get into as well, because there are people that are just friends and family and classmates, and these are just ordinary people that live in this world. They don't have great sprawling backstories where their great aunt was bitten by a radioactive spider, and now they have the ability to shoot beams out of their eyes. Like, these are just people that go to school and live their life,
Slice of life.
So, exactly, and not quite slice of life, but like more like I would liken it closer to I guess like 1970s to 1980s Spider-Man. I would say where Peter Parker has work colleagues and friends, and
he's working at the lab.
There's sometimes someone special, but most of the time they're just someone that's working in a lab, working in a newspaper,
Yeah, that's the thing that I really miss about Spider-Man. Like when I was younger, he was just working. He was trying to make his way. He ended up getting married, and now he's in like 7th grade again or something. I don't know.
And then the one-liners. I love the one-liners about the Spider-Man famous for the one-liners. So I really like that. This scene here, so is not for kids.
No. Most decapitations in one panel. That's what someone said yesterday. We should have an award for the most decapitations in one panel.
Yeah. Have you counted them?
No, I haven't. But, if you zoom in and really go through them, there's a lot.
Yeah. Everyone in this panel is decapitated.
Just about, yeah.
Henceforth, why I told you about that tweet. I'm like, how many people are dying? And you're like,
yeah. Well, this is a biological weapon of war engineered for this creature here is designed to essentially like it can fight a military battalion on its own. Like it's not like that's the thing that I want people to sort of understand as well. This is a powerful creature. It's not just a lion, manticore man. This is custom built to kill. Right. It's got subdermal armor that makes it resistant to most firearms. It's got the armored plates make it resistant to sort of heavy arms fire. It can survive tremendous damage to its body. It can regenerate itself. It has acid that it can project from its tail as a projectile weapon that can melt a person alive in under 5 seconds.
So it's the ultimate weapon.
It's a very good weapon.
It's a very okay.
It's like Attack on Titan, and I love that series where you've got these weapons of the human form, and that you've got a story where people are trying to attack it, trying to find a way to cut them down, trying to find something, and that makes for a good story. Like this would make it is a great story where you're saying it's something that's like you said, not a mythical light or whatever, but it is built and it is made to kill. And now you've got a story. Well, how do we kill it? What do we do? You know, so you're flipping through the pages like, well, did we find something? Did we invent something? Like, what do we do? And that's really good.
So there's a couple of things that I wanted to really take on from anime. Everyone talks about all the shit anime does right, and I wanted to take on some of the things anime does wrong.
There's a lot.
So there are a couple of scenes in the book where there's certain things like that I don't like. For instance, when Felix transforms first into Esper, when he finally I'm going to take this thing on and become a superhero. He's a 16-year-old comic book artist with zero combat experience, and it has been established previously that his friend Axel has had to drag his ass out of fights with girls before, right? When he was a little kid, he was beat up by a girl. So this is like Peter Parker, you know what I mean? He's a nerd guy. Well, he's not a nerd. He's sort of cooler than being a nerd, but he's an art nerd instead of like a science nerd, right? Mm-hmm. And so he transforms into his super form. It's like Super Saiyan Goku, like, I'm gonna kick ass.
Oh, yes.
But Balvor has been genetically engineered and built from the moment he was hatched until now to be an elite soldier and a killing machine. Mm-hmm. So instead of having this huge heroic moment where he's just like one shots the bad guy and then it's like, look at my big hero shot, like the villain's just like, fuck you, and just beats the shit out of him, right? Like all his transformation really does for him is mean that he doesn't die like those cops. So he's sort of trying to figure out, he's like, oh shit, what am I doing? He's throwing everything he's got at Balvor, and Balvor's just like, you're like a child. You're nothing.
So it's kind of like Kick-Ass then. Like he does, he doesn't know what he's doing, but he can't get hurt too bad.
Yeah, well, exactly. He gets hurt pretty bad, but like he had, because he's got full control. Like he's psionic, right? He's got full control over his biology. So like when he's getting his arms and shit ripped off, he can be like, okay, I can like put my arm back on, right? Because like he can control the cells in his arm. And
he's
stuff.
Aware. Yeah, he's aware.
Yeah, he has to make an active effort to do it and stuff. But he's like, he's got to figure out how he's going to do this, because if he doesn't stop Balvor, forget it killing him. Like he's worried about it killing him and stuff, but it's going to kill all his friends. It's going to kill all his family. It's going to kill anyone that knows anything to do with him if he doesn't figure out what to do. And so it's power versus creativity. And that's why he's a comic book artist. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to have his main strength be that he could think outside the box. He could visualize things. Like in combat situations, like because he understands how to draw shadow and stuff like that, he can like calculate where enemies are going to be because of their shadow. He can sort of gauge distance and stuff because he's learned how to draw it. That's the sort of shit he brings to the table.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting. Jerry, you should rename this to the power and creativity stream. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
Power and creativity. You know, I was just thinking about that. This character, he looks, I think it's a self-portrait of Odie, just about. I mean, he kind of looks like Odie to me, doesn't he? Does he to y'all? Is it just me?
His name was, if you read that panel there, he says, like, my name's Theodore Vasquez, but my friends call me Felix, right?
Yeah.
Odie's last name is Theodortus, but he was called that before Odie was working on the book. Like, he was called Theodore before. I wanted him to have, like, this goofy nerd name, you know what I mean? But then have this sort of cooler name that people called him. And so his friends call him Felix, you know? It's like it beats being called Teddy.
Well, let's take a look at his muscles, because I've seen him on stream before, you know, and he's flexed and he's got some good. He's built pretty good now for a youngin.
Yeah, well, he just goes to the gym and he draws comics. And the thing is, like, he was drawing Axel, right? Which is like the boxer guy. You've probably seen the art of him around. And he's like Felix's best friend. And he was like, well, I don't always have good photo reference for drawing his anatomy, so he just made himself the photo reference. He built himself up. He just worked out and built out, you know, until he's like, you know, he's a Greek Adonis boy. It's amazing.
Yeah. When in doubt, you know, work it out.
So now he can get like any angle or perspective he wants by just sort of posing that way himself and getting a photo. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's better that he's actually going to the gym and working out to form his body that way than going to the gym and actually looking at other men and trying to figure out,
Yeah, exactly. No, but Odie is so driven. He is so driven to what he does, and he knows that the life of a comic book creator and mangaka, like what we do, is a sedentary lifestyle. So reason I'm a fat ass. I don't eat a lot. I just don't have time to get out a lot, But he knows that, and he takes time every day because he understands the risks to mental health as well that no one's really talking about. If you're just drawing comics all day, he's a professional. He knows what he's doing, and I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of him.
Nice, that's great.
Man. I'll tell you, Liam, if you make this, if you take this logo or this symbol and you make it into swag, I will buy a hat. I will wear that hat on stream.
That's what we want to do. We just need to make more money to be able to do stuff like that. I want to. That's is that the logo that he's got on his chest you're talking about there?
Yeah.
On his chest? Yeah. That's the XIL or Exile logo.
There it is.
It's the equivalent of Nike or Reebok in his world,
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The volume 2 is about how I love it. It's so it's like goofy, I know, but like volume 2 is Esper's been running around after his transformation trying to be a superhero. Imagine that like Spider-Man was running around New York City, but he had Reebok on his chest. So there's this giant mega corporation that's going like, what the fuck are we gonna do about this kid? Well, this superhero, right? Running around wearing our brand. What are we gonna do? And it's like that's the plot of the second issue.
Well, Jerry, if you have the hat, then we'll give you the straight jacket from Skits, so that way you have a complete team up and lineup. It'd be awesome.
They've done drove him crazy. I saw. Speaking of Skits, I saw someone in a box on a tweet or something. I wasn't able to see I don't know if it was a video or what, but I saw an Amazon box with legs and arms coming out of it. And I thought that was hilarious. I didn't know where that was going because I didn't have time to check it out. I'm sorry, but I did see the tweet.
Yeah, that was funny, man. That's just something that we found. I was like, man, check this out. So I just shared it. No big deal. Yeah. It wasn't me or anything, man. I ain't got an Amazon book. I know, man. It's like
it's like, what do you do in quarantine? You just, what's in the box?
You just share stuff to get people to like and come to your channel, So, that's one of the things that I happen to come across a lot is just strange memes.
And it's just fun. It's just fun during this time because, a lot of people are on lockdown. A lot of people, especially here in the U.S., I've got a lot of friends out in LA and in New York that are like, thank you so much for showing us pictures, of nature because we have some trees and we have some other things. They can't even go out to see that. You know what I mean? They literally are stuck inside and, we're inside, but at least we have like, trees we can go see, a lake we can go see, that's close. Where we don't have to worry about, the 6 feet apart or whatever, at this time. And so when we're sharing stuff, it just gives people, a lot of laughs and just some fun things to take their mind off of, what's going on.
Well, we got enough land around us where we don't even see our own neighbors. So, we just go out and walk on the property and stuff. So.
Right. Which is great for comic books, for the indie comic books right now, because like we said, people are locked in. They're looking for ways to get their fix as far as like, well, I don't have my regular published comics. I need to have something new. Oh, what is this indie comics thing I keep hearing about? Okay, sure. I'll toss a coin to these witches, and
that's it. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully we're able to appeal to the people that are sitting at home and entertain them for sure. That would be nice.
Liam, is Overly Stimulated had a question. Has Odie done any other works besides Xenotype?
Yeah, Odie is a multi-award. Odie started drawing about 3 years ago, and he went from he's a prodigy. Like when I say he's a prodigy, I don't mean he's a prodigy. I mean like this is like some Sasuke level stuff where he just like looks at shit and then is like, I can do that. So like he started about 3 or so years ago. He's already won multiple awards. You can look him up on Medibang. If you just search his name on Medibang, Overly, you'll find his previous works. it's not at the same level that we're at now, but it does exist if you want to see what he can sort of do without my horrible influence over it. And and so yeah, that's what he's done there. He's won a couple of times through Medibang. He's done pretty well there. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that's. Oh, and he's been in galleries and stuff too. Like he's like, yeah, dude's a savant. Dude is an absolute savant.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's talented.
Yeah. Man, if you go back and you look at his art from like 3 or so years ago, whenever it was, like he went from drawing like, you know, really clumsy, big-eyed, like triangle-shaped faces, like look like bad Pokemon art, to where he is now. Like,
hey, Pokemon's famous, and I love my Jigglypuff.
But we know what bad Pokemon art would look like, right? Like, imagine
I do.
Pokemon art.
I do.
Hey, I mean, this is great. How good this is your first book, right, Liam?
This is
being crowdfunded.
Yes, this is my first crowdfunding book.
Okay, so I gotta say, I mean, it's great how good you're doing with this book and everything. But just so you know, Jerry's already predicted that I'm gonna make about $300 million on mine. So
yeah, I don't know. I haven't done an estimate of Liam's yet. Hopefully, I'll be able to get to that with this Corona thing going on. You know, I have a lot of fine art auctions, so it's just I'm just gonna have to wait till they open back up.
And how are you doing, Jerry, during all this time? Like, are you?
I'm in a rural area. They actually increased our hours because I work for the power company.
Okay.
We were working 4/10s, now we're working 5/10s.
Okay.
So, they've actually increased our hours, which is surprising. They were talking about cutting us, and then they said, well, if one of our guys goes down, you know, because we're contractors, so
right.
You know, they wanted to have somebody on standby. So it didn't really affect me as far as work goes, but you know, I'm just like everybody else, just trying to stay away from big crowds. And you know, I work with the crew, so I'm spraying them down with Lysol. I'm terrorizing the crew with Lysol. My truck smells like powder fresh Lysol. So
well, hello, boys are just dirty.
Well, hopefully we're cleaner for at least the next few weeks, so we can get this whole what they call it, straightening the curve, so we can straighten this curve.
Flatten the curve. Flatten the curve. Yeah.
And how are you doing there in Australia, Liam? The same thing, just trying to stay away, or has it hit there as hard as China and other places?
It hasn't quite as hard, but there's a big shutdown now. It's illegal to gather in groups of more than 100 people. We were allowed to go to school, but like now, no more schools. So that's out. Everyone's just self-quarantining to make sure everything's sort of isolated. But I mean, spoiler alert, Liam is crazy and is sort of Negan style awaiting the apocalypse. So I was ready.
Ready.
Hey, I mean, we're always
Exactly.
ready, man.
I saw
everything we need.
So I was like, it's the end of the world.
I saw a meme. I saw a meme. It said, "This virus sucks. I wanted zombies."
Exactly. Well, all right, Liam, you're on our team. Then Jerry, you're on our team because you got power, so you know where to get the cables. You know what electricity stuff. You got.
All we gotta do is get from here to Australia.
Exactly.
No, but I'm hoping, in all seriousness, that it really does go sort of away. I don't want to talk about it too much because it'll get your stream struck. But I do not believe that this was a natural. Yeah, it'll get you. Can't really talk about the V word or the C word, or they will. They'll get notification. There's a notification you get before you go live streaming on YouTube. You don't see it on StreamYards, but on YouTube, where they're saying, we will take down videos that are not even in violation of our terms and service due to the current.
That's what that's about. It does pop up, and sometimes it does pop up and has like that. Oh, we didn't.
It's because they're trying to mitigate panic and keep things sort of copacetic. They don't want people freaking out, but you know, I'm just gonna say that like there might be. Xenotype is a story about the kings of Babylon, the power elite, controlling people with biological weapons and through using terror to keep them instilled and in their place within society. And maybe through some weird sheer coincidence, that's very relevant to our modern situation. Maybe.
Yeah, the medium is the message, man.
Yeah. And that is an entire coincidence because I did this long before.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that because, like I said, working in LA and working in Hollywood on productions and stuff, our production team, we actually wrote a script that, and I do mean specifically with all the scientific words and this, it literally was like, oh, this sounds good, like in a medical book, like thinking no one has ever heard about it, no one's ever done it. And we picked out specific words that we thought no one would ever, and this was 3 years ago. And so now I'm just like, oh, someone needs to fund me because this is like really good. So we're working hard to finish it. And then once everything is done, go ahead and get into the studio, hire our guys back again, and get it together, get it produced, get it ready to go. It's one of those things where you just go, are you serious? We literally like flip through a book and just, oh, this looks good. What about this? And then poof, now here we are. So
in Xenotype, I'm using terrorism as an analogy. Actually, if you just give me a second, I'll just quickly read you my outline. It'll make everything make a lot more sense. This isn't something I read out too often, but I'll let you know what the
Jerry,
series.
you're getting an exclusive, Jerry.
No, it's not exclusive. I have read it before, but it's not something I really go into a lot because it's sort of a little bit spoiler heavy. Well, not spoiler heavy, but it lets you know where the series is. But it's like, so this is basically the outline for the first volume, and it's when an unnatural storm settles over Fenway City, people start disappearing. At first, the locals attribute it to random acts of violence, then terrorist attacks. But when Robin's boyfriend is killed, Felix and his friends find themselves dragged into an ancient and horrifying conspiracy. All the world is ruled by monsters, and mankind are their prey. Brought to the brink of death by one such predator, mysterious psychic abilities awaken within the frightened teenager, changing him from a mild-mannered high school student into the transformation hero, Esper. Faced with the sobering reality that everything about the world, the past, and even himself may be a lie, it quickly becomes apparent that the only one thing is certain. Esper alone has the power to fight back against the evil Black Diamond Corporation. It's monsters, madness, and mayhem in this fierce fighting franchise. And basically, the reason I touched on the terrorism is because the series itself is rooted in self-actualization. This is about deciding who you're going to be and taking personal accountability for your life and deciding where you're going to go. And so the enemies that Esper fights aren't just big monsters. It's actually corporation. It's people trying to stifle creativity, control speech, control thought. The whole society that he grew up in has been engineered so that you have to go through select routes and be vetoed. You can't succeed on merit. You have to succeed on status. And it's sort of speaking about the evils that a lot of younger people will face. I'm going to address issues like student loans. I'm going to address issues like I said, like terrorism. Like using fear, like the news using fear to keep people afraid, to keep people inside. It rains in Fenway City. I don't know if you've seen, but in all the art, it's raining. And that's because the nadir, the giant flying sky pyramid that the monsters are stationed on, right? When it comes, it generates this giant storm. And it's part of their culture now that when the storms come to the city, everyone goes inside because they know that's when all the gangs come out and when all the bad stuff happens. So there's a lot of like, this is why it's raining. He shouldn't be out in the rain. There's people later in the book that are like, oh, the rain's coming. We've got to go inside. And it's because I wanted to talk about that culture of fear where people can be conditioned to have certain stimulus like I'm going to go and not look at all the bad things happening, and so bad things won't happen to me. Instead of thinking, well, why are these things happening? But, and it very much, I wanted to show that it's not just random acts of violence. I wanted to tap into a little bit of the Illuminati and stuff like that, and go like, look, there are, you know what spirit cooking is, you know, about the power elite. Now, what if the power elite were not human? What if the power elite that were running this world, you know, that we're currently in, were actually the enemies of the common man, were your enemies, and wanted to make you a slave? And that's very much what the series is about. Like
lizard people.
Yeah.
Literally.
In fact, they're the lizard people, exactly. Yeah.
All right, Liam, I have got another appointment. I have got to go.
Sure.
Hey, would you make this? Would you make one more pitch for your book? I'm going to run back up here to the top. I know you've done.
I'll see you can do one better. Just see the next video down. Go down. Just play that for everyone. It's 30 seconds. It's probably better than my whole last hour rant.
Young Felix Vance has began life like any other citizen of Vangloria. Through a twist of fate, this wannabe comic book artist is thrust into a whirlwind of reality-shattering secrets. Now, with the power to rewrite his own DNA, Felix adopts the name Esther and lays his life on the line to protect all that he loves.
Bam!
So Xenotype. Go back. It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful art. It's a great story by a great writer. There's no reason not to back this book. I can't see any reason why not to back it. So if support them, they've got 35 days left, and we need to get that number on up there because
get it up, guys.
It should be.
I know that a lot of people are waiting. I've had people go, "Oh, we're waiting." Don't wait, guys. Do it now, because the higher that number gets, the more stretch goals I can have. I've got so much planned that I can do, but my numbers need to get higher before I can give you more stuff. If I get everything in the last 2 days, I'm not going to be able to have the time to prepare everything that I need to produce to give you as these add-ons. So start backing now, right?
Also need that algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
And the peace of mind that it gives you as the creator to be able to offer you, because I know, if you're like me, I know you got things in your mind that you want to offer that you've probably already been looking online at, like cards and stickers and T-shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff. And when that number gets on up, it just gives you the peace of mind to go ahead and maybe make those purchases or start the artwork for those projects. So
exactly. Yeah. I can't budget. Well, I've already budgeted. I can't begin commissioning them or putting them into production until I know that I'm going to reach the numbers where it will be cost effective, because I can't have the campaign implode and then fail to deliver the book to people. This has been my life for 2 years, guys. For 2 whole years, every single day. Wake up in the morning, work on this book with Odie, go to sleep. That's our whole life, right? He goes to the gym, I read, he comes back, we get back to it every single day. For 2 years, well, for about 1.5 years, but for me, 2 years, right? So,
yeah, it's definitely 200 pages. That's a lot of work. That's a massive
awesome
book, and it's well worth. If you can't back anything else, the $25 tier, it's well worth that. So,
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for having us on, Jerry.
Yeah. Just
Thanks,
hold on
Liam, so much.
Hold on before you go. I'm gonna let you pitch skits.
Yeah, do that.
Skits is a book about a guy who can't tell the difference between his dreams and reality. Now, what you need to do right now is just get on over to Indiegogo, get on there, sign up for the mailing list. Mailing list is so important, so important. We need you on that thing, because we're going to have discounts day one. I mean, everyone wants a discount, so you're going to get discounts on the book day one, only if you're on the mailing list. And we got some freebies we're going to be sending to you as well. So get on over there, get on the mailing list. Also check us out on Twitter, Skits Comic on Twitter. Also, Skits Comic on YouTube, which if you're on YouTube right now, you can just click on us and go over there and check us out. And now this fine lady right here is going to tell you exactly what she's going to be doing as well.
Come get some. So I do a quick review show on Published and Indie Comics. So when we do back the community, when those books come in, I do make sure and I give my opinions about it. I don't sugarcoat it. I mean, because I think it's useful and beneficial, but I do find those finer points, let people know to go back these things because we want people to back ours. And we also will be doing Come Get Some live. And then Michael does his drawings lives. He's been doing his quarantines. Day 1, 2,
day 3 of
day
quarantine
3
was today, man. It was fantastic. Day 3.
Day 3. And tomorrow we're going to be on another show. But after that, we've got a mashup. So we've got a Come Get Some mashup tomorrow at 8:30, and we're excited.
Hey, also, Jerry, you want to play our video? It's just 30 seconds. It's right there in front of you. Just click on that little thing right there.
I will play it.
That is our
Sweet,
Skits
man.
Comics springing into action. So it is still going on this spring, guys. So just sign up on that mailing list and you will be notified when we drop. Boom! And we're ready to go. Thanks, guys, so much.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out with me and Liam. Liam, I appreciate you coming on, hanging out with me and the Skits team. And hey, go back Xenotype because it's 35 days left, but don't wait because we want to get the stretch goals up there. I want to see what else Liam's got up there.
Let me get you. The coolest thing about doing the unboxings I've done in the last few days is all the cool swag. So help me give you more than just a book. I want to give you cool swag.
I want that hat. If you come out with a hat, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll look into it, but again, that's a lot of stuff like clothing as well. We want to look into stuff like that, but we just need to get.
I'll tell you what. If you can't, I mean, if it comes to the point where you can't make swag like that, I will pay you what it costs for a hat. You can send me the logo, and I will sign a contract, and I will just have a hat made. You know,
that's fine, brother. Yeah, we'll work it out. We'll work it out, brother. You're a good guy. You're a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for people willing to be my billboards. I'm sure that Hollywood knows what that's about.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to talk about billboards are expensive. Just saying. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Bye, guys.
See you next time. I hope that all of your dreams come true and your imagination runs wild.